Welcome to Bistec Global Technology Podcast. In this podcast, we are trying to bring you the most interesting things in the AI world. AI landscape is changing day by day. In the last episode, we talked about AI agents. In this episode, we will talk about MCP, Model Context Protocol. Let's roll the intro. I am Gayashan Wagachchi from Bistec Global.
I am Jayath Silva from Bistec Global.
So Jayath, in the last couple of months, AI agents was the hot topic, and then MCP got into the hotspot.
Yeah.
So really, why MCP is so important?
So before answering that, first let's discuss about what's MCP and how it came to this far. And simply, it originated as an internal project in Anthropic. You know about the cloud models and the cloud desktop, the chatbot. So they build it as an internal project to extend the capabilities of cloud desktop. And while developing that, they saw the potential. They saw the similar need in other AI applications. Then because of that, they release these two open source community on November 25th, 2024. And they published the blog post introducing to Model Context Protocol, that describing the protocol and the capabilities. So why we need MCP? That's the question. So models are only as good as context given to them.
That's a pretty good quote. And also, I have heard LLMs are not very useful if we cannot use LLMs with other tools. So LLMs alone, it's not very useful. Why is that?
The reason behind that, LLMs generate text like when we are dealing with LLM related applications, simply chat GPT, we can ask any question and it gives the answer. But sometimes it gives the proper answer that we need when we provide much more details about the requirement, much more details about what we need.
Yeah.
And,
so LLMs are like, we can think about LLMs as prediction machines, right?
Yeah.
The whole purpose or the thing that LLM is trying to do and they are good at is predicting the next token.
Mm-hmm.
We give them a sentence or phrase or something in natural language, and they will predict the next token, next word, and so on. Then they will generate a text output, right? So if we cannot provide the context for the LLM, it's just it will just predict tokens with their already learned knowledge, right?
Yes, exactly. So I'll take an example as the cloud desktop. Cloud desktop don't have access to internet without any currently it don't have access to the internet without any MCP configurations or anything. So when we refer some kind of a question that related to yesterday, they just think you are referring some score related to a match, and you want to make a leaderboard about the players. So when we ask the question, it will generate an output based on the pre-trained data. But
that means the data probably 1 year or more than 1 year old. So it's not correct.
Yeah. So if we have that potential to get some data from external source, such as internet or some kind of a database or somehow, we can get a much more accurate result. And so that's the thing behind that, why we need the context when we are asking a question. So with that, there's a question: why MCP protocol? Can't we do without MCP?
Exactly. So the proposal for the MCP, or the white paper for the MCP, was released like November, right, last year. So, but LLMs came into the spotlight about 2 years ago, I think. But we developed applications using LLMs without MCP. So can't we develop any applications without MCP? I think the answer is
yes, we can develop without MCP.
Yeah. So now we can develop applications integrating LLMs with software systems or tools. So why we need another protocol called Model Context Protocol?
Yeah. Let's say we are developing an application that need external tools or data sources. When we developing that, we have to configure from the resources side and as well as the LLM application side. For a basic application, it may be easy just to configure and that's all. But when we have to do it again and again, or when we have to do it to many applications, without a standard way, we have to develop it again, as I said.
So what you're saying is, for example, I have an application, so I have software, and I need to integrate LLM with a web search in that software. So I have to write everything for the LLM and also for the web search to get that functionality.
Yes.
And then again, I want to integrate LLM with a Postgres database. Then again, I have to write all the code for the Postgres database as well, and also for the LLM. So likewise, for any tool or any functionality that you need to integrate the LLM with, you have to write code for both sides, right?
Exactly.
It's not like very production friendly or like developer friendly, right?
Yeah, that's why we need a standard for this. As example, when we are developing APIs, we follow the REST architecture. Okay. So when we are developing endpoints with that, we don't need to consider about we don't need to specify it about is it a mobile application or web application. Simply it become client agnostic.
So client server architecture. If the backend is developed according to the REST API spec, then the client developers, it can be web developer, it can be web application or mobile application or whatever, or another backend service or anything. They don't have to know the details of that a specific backend, because if you follow the REST API spec, you know how to consume resources.
Yeah.
You just have to build your client application according to that, and you will be able to consume the resources, right? So MCP is just like, so I see it like an interface. In programming, when we need to integrate, let's say 2 classes, then what we do is we implement the class for the interface. So we don't have to know the, let's say there are 2 classes, class A and class B. So class B implements the interface B.
Okay.
Right? So when we are integrating class A with the class B, we don't need to know the details of the class B. We just implement for the interface B. We just consume it. So MCP is just like that, right?
Yeah. So as you mentioned, this is kind of a standard to MCP. So MCP become an open protocol that standardize the how your LLM applications connect and work with tools and data sources. We are standardizing it to a common way.
So the real power MCP comes in when it popularized throughout the developer community, when more and more people, more and more companies, more and more developers using the MCP, then that's the real power. So then you just follow the MCP, Model Context Protocol, and develop your application and consume all the other resources or tools or services, right?
Yeah. So to dig deeper into that, we have to go to the MCP architecture.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So this is a common example that I used to explain how MCP and the architecture works. The MCP act as the support hub,
The USB hub.
We can connect any external USB into that, maybe a SD card, a hard drive, or just some kind of a device or anything. With that standard way, we can connect that into your PC. And this architecture mainly come up with the client-server architecture that has three main components. The main component, the host, MCP host, MCP client, and the MCP server. The MCP host is the LLM application. It may be Cloud Desktop, Cursor AI, or LLM or application or chatbot or anything. Inside that host, we can configure clients, many MCP clients that should configure with MCP external servers. As an example, let's say we have a database, a PostgreSQL database server, MCP server. In our Cloud Desktop, we can do the related configurations related to that database, and when we initiate that, we can make the MCP connection. It's not only one client, you can come up with many as the resources you need.
Now we have discussed how MCP works. Let's go into the MCP feature metrics, Jayath.
So this feature support matrix shows what are the features currently supported by MCP protocol and to what clients. The features show some primitives that currently supporting to this MCP protocol. Two primitives from client side, routes and sampling, and three from server side, tools, resources, and the prompt templates.
So tools enable servers to expose executable functionality to clients. So through tools, LLMs can interact with external systems and perform computations. Tool can be any kind of software component or software service. That can be a Slack, that can be a database such as Postgres or MySQL, and that can be a web search. That can be any kind of a software component, exactly. And resources allows MCP servers to expose data and content which can be read by clients and used as the context in the LLM interaction. So for example, it can be file contents, database records, API responses, live system data even, and screenshots, images, log files. So basically these are documents or data that LLM can consume.
And the last thing is prompts. Prompt means it's a prompt template. So it can be, we can use that to get a specific data values from the client side and to come up with a specific output based on the prompt template. It can be arguments or a guide to follow up the workflow, or it can be some kind of a context from the resources that we are referring. So that's how the prompt templates as it works. And from the client side, the route means we can define some kind of a specific location. We can suggest that to LLM only look at this specific area. And when client connect to the server, it declare which route the server should work within. There are a few benefits with that, mainly from the security aspect. It limits the server's access, only give the access that they need. And it more clarify rather than going through here and there. It keeps the focus to the server that we have to work on. And also root can be anything, like it can be a file location or any URI, anything.
And sampling allows the server to request interference from the LLM. They're connected via the MCP client, giving the user application full control over security, privacy, and cost. Sampling is a way for servers to leverage the LLM's intelligence as part of their processing pipeline. So how sampling works? Server sends a request to the client, and client reviews the request and modify it, and client samples from an LLM, and client reviews the completion, and client then returns the result to the server. So these are the major 5 features in the MCP feature matrix. And I think we can look into the MCP registry as well.
So registries means about Docker registry. There are many images in the Docker registry that we can go and get what image we need. Same as when it comes to MCP registries are the place that we store MCP servers. It can we can see those. There was only one registry that come up with Anthropic, and we can see that in our their GitHub repo. In that there are servers that build from Anthropic team as well as the community, and it includes several databases and web search, several payment gateway tools. There are many servers that you can implement that to your application. Because of this is open source, now there are many MCP registries, not only one.
So MCP registry is open to world. It's a good opportunity if you can develop MCP server for your application, and you can submit into the MCP registry, and people can use it. And this openness and the and also MCP is still evolving and growing, and that opens many security loopholes. People can submit malicious MCP servers. So when you use those malicious MCP servers, unexpected things can happen. For example, there was an incident recently. The private repository data could be revealed by a GitHub MCP server. We will add the link into the description of that blog post. So attackers could reveal the private repository data through this GitHub MCP server. Here is how it works. You create an issue into the public repository, and there can be tools, agents running on that issue, and you can persuade that agent to grab the files from a private repository, and then that agent will create a pull request into the public repository. So that's an open pull request. Anyone in the internet can see that data, and in that pull request, that data grabbed from the private repository are revealed. So that's a major incident. So there can be so many cases like that because MCP is still evolving. And Jayath, I think the security aspect of the MCP is really important because you cannot go production without identifying the security loopholes and resolving those issues.
Yes, Gayashan. So this MCP technology is still very young because it came up couple months before. Currently also they are like patching and searching for vulnerabilities in this technology, and as a good example we can see in the March specification they enable to use authentication by use of OAuth 2.1 to these MCP servers, and we can see this still improving, still patching up the loopholes. I'm not sure about we are proceeding this technology to the production level, as you mentioned, because we don't know what's MCP means, what are the potentials that we can come up with this. So with these improvements, I think in near future we could come up with very interesting development related stuff with using MCP.
Yeah, exactly. I think in the AI landscape, any technology is still newborn, is still evolving and still growing. So in this podcast series, we are trying to get you those new technologies, and we invite you to tune with us and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you in the next episode.